Spinach may look humble sitting quietly on a plate, but inside those green leaves is a serious ally for anyone struggling with diabetes, because this vegetable works on blood sugar in more than one silent but powerful way, and that is exactly what makes it so effective. When blood sugar rises too quickly after meals, the body is forced to release more insulin, and over time this repeated pressure makes insulin less effective, which is where problems begin. Spinach helps slow this process down naturally because it is rich in fiber, and fiber changes how quickly sugar enters your bloodstream. When digestion slows, glucose is released in a controlled manner instead of flooding the blood all at once, and that single change can reduce sharp spikes that damage nerves, blood vessels, and energy levels. What makes spinach even more valuable is its magnesium content, a mineral many people with diabetes are unknowingly low in, even when their diet seems balanced. Magnesium plays a direct role in insulin sensitivity, meaning it helps insulin open the door for glucose to move into your cells, where it can be used for energy instead of staying trapped in the blood. When magnesium levels improve, insulin doesn't have to work as hard, and blood sugar becomes easier to manage throughout the day. Spinach also contains antioxidants that reduce inflammation, and inflammation is one of the most overlooked contributors to insulin resistance. When your body is inflamed, insulin signals become noisy and confusing, but when inflammation calms down, communication improves, and glucose handling becomes more efficient. Another important benefit of spinach is how flexible it is in daily meals. You do not need to eat large bowls of it or force it into your routine in unpleasant ways. It can be added to eggs, lentils, curries, soups, smoothies, or even lightly cooked as a side, and it continues to support blood sugar balance without demanding attention. Cooked spinach is especially helpful for people with sensitive digestion, because the nutrients become easier to absorb while still providing fiber and minerals. Regular intake matters more than quantity, because blood sugar control responds to repeated signals over time. When spinach becomes part of your daily pattern, your body begins to expect slower digestion, steadier glucose release, and improved insulin response. Many people notice that their post-meal readings look calmer and their cravings reduce, because stable blood sugar reduces the urge to snack or reach for quick energy. Over weeks, these small daily effects add up, and as blood sugar fluctuations decrease, the average level reflected in A1c begins to move down naturally. Spinach does not shock the system or push it aggressively. Instead, it supports balance in a quiet, sustainable way, helping the body remember how to manage glucose smoothly without constant struggle. Bitter gourd, often called chlorella, is one of those vegetables that demands respect before it offers its benefits, because its sharp taste is a signal of how powerfully it works inside the body. Especially for blood sugar control, for people with diabetes, one of the biggest challenges is that glucose stays in the bloodstream longer than it should, either because insulin is not working efficiently or because the liver is releasing extra sugar even when it is not needed. Bitter gourd helps on both fronts at the same time, which is why it has been valued for generations in many traditional health systems. It contains plant compounds that behave in a way similar to insulin, encouraging glucose to move out of the blood and into the cells where it can be used for energy instead of causing damage. This effect is especially helpful after meals, when blood sugar tends to spike quickly and put stress on the body. Bitter gourd also plays a role in calming the liver, which is extremely important for fasting blood sugar levels. Many people wake up with high readings, even when they have eaten carefully the night before. And this often happens because the liver releases stored glucose during the night. Bitter gourd helps reduce this release, supporting more stable morning numbers and a better start to the day. Another powerful benefit of bitter gourd is its impact on insulin sensitivity, because over time, diabetes is not just about how much insulin the body produces, but how well the cells respond to it. By improving this response, bitter gourd helps insulin work more efficiently, which means less sugar remains circulating in the blood. It also contains antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress, a hidden problem that damages cells and worsens insulin resistance when left unchecked. While many people struggle with its bitter flavor at first, there are ways to make it easier to include without forcing yourself to suffer through meals. Like cooking, mixing it with other vegetables, or even using small portions regularly can allow your body to benefit without overwhelming your taste buds. Some people also use bitter gourd juice in small amounts, especially in the morning, but consistency matters far more than the method. When bitter gourd becomes a steady part of the diet, the body begins to respond with calmer blood sugar patterns, fewer extreme highs and lows, and better overall glucose control. Over time, this steadiness reduces stress on the pancreas and supports healthier insulin function. As daily blood sugar swings soften, the long-term average reflected in A1c also begins to improve, not because of sudden force, but because the body is finally being supported in the way it naturally understands. Broccoli is one of those vegetables that quietly does far more than most people realize, especially when it comes to blood sugar balance and long-term diabetic health, because its benefits reach deeper than simple fiber content. When blood sugar remains high for long periods, cells are exposed to constant oxidative stress, which damages insulin signaling and makes it harder for glucose to enter the cells efficiently. Broccoli contains a powerful plant compound called sulforaphane that directly targets this problem by reducing oxidative stress and improving insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. This means insulin is better able to do its job, allowing glucose to move out of the bloodstream and into the muscles and tissues where it belongs. Another important role broccoli plays is supporting the liver, an organ that strongly influences blood sugar levels without most people realizing it. When the liver becomes insulin resistant, it continues to release glucose into the blood, even when levels are already high. The compounds in broccoli help improve liver function and reduce unnecessary glucose output, which can lead to more stable fasting and between meal readings. Broccoli is also rich in fiber, which slows digestion and helps prevent sudden spikes after eating. This slower release of sugar is crucial for keeping post-meal numbers under control and reducing stress on the pancreas. At the same time, this fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and a healthier gut microbiome improves how the body handles glucose, inflammation, and hormone regulation. When gut health improves, insulin response often becomes more predictable and efficient. Broccoli also provides essential nutrients like vitamin C and chromium, both of which support metabolic health and insulin function in subtle but important ways. Cooking method matters with broccoli because overcooking can reduce some of its protective compounds, while light steaming helps preserve its benefits and improves digestion. When broccoli is eaten regularly as part of daily meals, it creates a pattern of steady glucose handling instead of sharp rises and crashes. Many people notice that their energy feels more consistent and their post-meal fatigue decreases as blood sugar becomes more stable. Over time, this stability reduces inflammation throughout the body, lowering the risk of complications related to diabetes. As daily blood sugar spikes become less extreme and more controlled, the overall average level comes down naturally, and that steady improvement is reflected in a healthier A1c without aggressive measures or unrealistic dietary rules. Okra is a vegetable that often gets overlooked, yet for people managing diabetes, it can be surprisingly powerful because of how it interacts with sugar during digestion and absorption. One of the biggest problems with high blood sugar is not just how much glucose you eat, but how fast it enters the bloodstream, and okra directly addresses that issue. It is rich in soluble fiber, which forms a gel-like substance in the digestive tract. This gel slows the movement of food and carbohydrates, allowing glucose to be released gradually instead of rushing into the blood all at once. When this happens, post-meal spikes become smaller and easier for the body to manage. Okra also helps improve insulin sensitivity over time, meaning the cells respond better to insulin and take in glucose more efficiently. This reduces the amount of sugar circulating in the blood and lowers stress on the pancreas. Another important benefit of okra is its support for gut health. The soluble fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and these bacteria play an essential role in regulating inflammation, metabolism, and blood sugar balance. When the gut environment is healthier, insulin signaling becomes clearer and more stable. Okra also contains antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress, which is a hidden contributor to insulin resistance and long-term diabetic complications. By lowering this internal stress, okra helps protect blood vessels and nerve function while supporting overall metabolic health. Many people are familiar with the slimy texture of okra and assume it is unpleasant. But that texture is actually the source of its blood sugar stabilizing power. Cooking okra lightly, roasting it, or combining it with other vegetables can make it more enjoyable while preserving its benefits. Some people soak okra pods in water overnight and drink the water in the morning to support fasting blood sugar, while others prefer eating the whole vegetable for maximum fiber intake. What matters most is regular use, because blood sugar control improves through repetition, not one-time efforts. When okra becomes part of a weekly or even daily routine, blood sugar patterns often become calmer and more predictable. Over time, fewer sharp spikes mean less damage and better energy throughout the day. As daily readings stabilize, the average blood sugar level gradually decreases, and this steady improvement shows up in a healthier A1c, built through quiet, supportive changes rather than extreme dietary measures. When these vegetables are used together, their effect on blood sugar becomes deeper and more reliable because they support the body from multiple directions instead of pushing it in one harsh way. Diabetes is rarely about one single problem. It is usually a mix of insulin resistance, slow digestion, liver glucose release, inflammation, and stress hormones all working against balance at the same time. Spinach supports mineral balance and insulin function. Bitter gourd improves glucose movement and liver control. Broccoli protects cells and improves insulin sensitivity. And okra slows sugar absorption at the digestive level. When these actions overlap day after day, the body begins to feel less under attack and more supported. One of the biggest mistakes people make is chasing fast results with extreme restrictions, which often leads to fatigue, cravings, and eventually giving up. These vegetables work differently. They create stability first, and stability is what the body needs to lower blood sugar naturally. Another important factor is how these vegetables reduce cravings without people realizing it. When blood sugar spikes are smaller, energy stays more even, and that reduces the urge to snack on sugary or refined foods. This alone can significantly reduce daily glucose load without conscious effort. Many people notice they feel fuller for longer, their mind feels clearer, and their mood becomes more balanced, all signs that blood sugar swings are calming down. It is also important to understand that muscles play a huge role in glucose usage, and when vegetables improve insulin sensitivity, glucose moves into muscles more easily instead of staying in the blood. Even light daily movement combined with these foods amplifies their benefits. Timing also matters. Eating vegetables before carbohydrates or mixing them into meals helps create a natural barrier that slows digestion and protects against sharp rises. Hydration supports this process as well, because fiber needs water to function properly in slowing sugar absorption. Stress management is another quiet partner in this process, because high stress raises cortisol, and cortisol raises blood sugar regardless of diet. When the body feels nourished and steady, stress responses often soften naturally. Over weeks, people often notice that their readings feel more predictable instead of surprising, and this predictability builds confidence. A1 does not drop overnight, but it responds faithfully to daily averages, and when spikes become smaller and less frequent, the long-term number follows. This approach does not fight the body, it cooperates with it, sending the same calm message every day that glucose does not need to stay high to keep you functioning. When that message becomes consistent, the body adapts, not through force, but through balance.